Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our regular council meeting for December the 2nd, 7:06. All right, let me go back a little bit since we just came back from closed session. Legal can report out.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilman in closed session on items 4.1 and 4.2. There was no reportable action. Item 4.3 was continued.
And so we're actually going to go back.
Sorry, continue to the end of the meeting.
Yes, thank you. All right, so now let's open our regular council meeting, so December 2nd at 7:07. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Ready, begin. Can we please remain standing for a moment of silence for our first responders and military members, please? Thank you. May be seated. Roll call, please.
Roll call, Councilmember Roth,
Present.
Councilmember Pond,
Present.
Councilmember Wallace,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Semmer,
Present.
Mayor Moran.
Present.
For the record, all council members and mayor are in attendance.
Council, are there any changes to the agenda?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, when we come to the consent, I'd like to pull the item 6.5 for separate discussion, please.
Okay. Anything else?
Mr. Mayor, I was going to do this during consent, but we may as well now. I'd like to pull item 6.4 from consent.
Okay. Anything else, Council? All right, so we have the remainder of the items, 6.1, 6.2, 6.3, 6.6. Under consent agenda, is there a motion?
I think you need to go through a bunch of stuff first.
All right, is there any citizen comments? Is there anyone on the phone? 7:09, bringing it back to the chamber. Is there any citizen comments in regards to the items under consent agenda? Seeing none, bringing it back to the dais at 7:09, and at this time I will contemplate a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Councilmember Roth. Is there a second?
I'm sorry, what did you just make a motion on?
Consent.
Oh, you skipped all through the staff announcements and reports and everything? I'm sorry, I'm a little confused
Good,
here.
yes. No,
You went to citizen comment, you didn't count on the staff or city manager or any of that stuff.
Mr. Roth, was your motion to approve the consent calendar or to move those items out of consent?
To move those items out of consent.
Oh, okay.
So, well, we don't need to, so just hold on. We'll probably go back. My mistake. So those changes on the agenda, thank you. We're pulling 6.4, 6.5 for separate consideration. Moving forward, at this time, I will go out for citizen comments. Is there any citizen comments? This section of the agenda allows members of the public to address the city council on any item not on the agenda. Members of the public, when recognized by the mayor, should come forward to the lectern and identify themselves. Comments are normally limited to 3 minutes. In accordance with state open meeting laws, no action will be taken by city council this evening. Is there any citizen comments on the phone? 7:10, bringing it back to the dais, to the chamber. Is there any citizen comments in the chamber? Seeing none coming forward, closing the citizen comments at 7:11. Moving forward with item number 3, county supervisor's announcements and reports. Mr. Jen Pacheco, he did text me earlier today. He said he was not going to be able to be here tonight because he is currently attending a conference. But he did wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year if he doesn't see any of you guys. Hopefully he'll be here. We have one more meeting, so hopefully he'll make it to that meeting. but that was his message at this time. Next, we have announcements and reports. 4.1, city staff announcements and reports.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we actually, Public Works is going to make a little presentation. Then I'll have engineering also make a little presentation. And recreation.
Good evening, Council, City Manager, members of the public. Anthony Chavarria, Public Works. I just wanted to highlight the front picture there of the slide. The Public Works team decorated a gingerbread house last year. They did a pretty good job in detail. They used brown sugar for the dirt and the water leak there that they're working on. I think food coloring for the water. They did a pretty good job. I want to talk a little bit about storm preparation. So the team did a great job this year with proactive maintenance activities. They've been inspecting storm pump stations, cleaning storm inlets on the streets, just being proactive. We fared very well during the mid-November storm events and seen minimal issues, and that's due to the preventive maintenance that the guys were performing out in the field. This is ongoing maintenance because a lot of this, 99% of this comes from our streets. That makes its way to our storm drain inlets and to our pump stations. So we did see quite a bit of stormfall, rain, and during those back-to-back storm events, as you can see in the table. Here, November rain totals. November 13th, almost half an inch, 0.43 inches. November 15th, 0.67 inches. November 16th, almost an inch. The 17th, 0.81 inches. For a total in November of 3.26 inches of rainfall. And that 3.26, we got most of it in mid-November during those back-to-back storm events. They said kudos to the staff. They did a great job. We've seen very minimal issues out there. There was a small flooding on Peach Street, which the guys took care of pretty quick. Everything else, minimal issues. Next few pictures will be of staff performing the maintenance on the inlets. Staff removed the sediment and debris on 5th and F Street from the inlets in that intersection, which previous years tended to flood in that area. Inlet cleaning the middle school. I believe this is off of Robin. Leaves, dirt, and debris were removed. Before pictures, and these are the after pictures. Middle school inlets, there was some debris removed as well, and we had some trees growing in, small trees growing in the inlets that were removed in some of the other areas as well. Prusso and J, yeah, we hit those areas as well. The Main Street inlets were cleaned. These are the inlets on North Main, across the highway. A couple of pictures of the River Glen water tie-in. We did ask the contractor to perform this work at nighttime, just to reduce any impacts that the project may have on our residents on B Street, because B Street's highly traveled, a lot of traffic on that street. The contractor has requested to start the sewer utility tie-in week of December 15th. That will most likely be a daytime work on that area for that part of the project, the sewer tie-in. Both the east and the west-bound lanes will be open to traffic, so be minimal impacts to traffic flow. And just give council an idea on what's going on here. This is our water main. We've got a 12-inch main running down pretty close to the middle of B Street. And the River Glen contractor is performing what's called a hot tap. So they're installing water valves. I think it's an 8-inch and a 6-inch valve here to supply water to their apartment complexes here. And this is done by a hot tap, so they don't have to request isolation in this water main. Everything stays live. Just a quick update, the Max Foster multi-use walk path, phase 1 and 2. I'm sure you guys have drove by there and noticed that the contractor has all the curb and gutter poured for the project. A couple pictures of the contractor pouring the sidewalk area leading up to the corner of Dwight and Walnut. This picture on the left is facing east on Walnut. This is all new sidewalk that was poured. Curb and gutter. Second picture on the right over here is at the return ramp facing south, looking down Dwight. All this is brand new. And they poured all the way to the first driveway approach, and they poured the approach as well. Projected completion is toward the end of December. Blank out sign at Main and Davis. As everybody's aware, we've had a couple of fatalities at this intersection. So an electronic warning signage was installed at the intersection to provide advance warning to motorists making a left turn onto Main Street. This recommendation did come from the Traffic Safety Committee and approved by the city manager. Joseph Gallo Park, walk path light repair. Picture of the Parks and LMD guys repairing some of the broken and vandalized lights and installing some new ones. The newly installed ones are really, really bright, a lot brighter than the older ones that were there, so they're really illuminating the area a lot better. Parks Department trimming district vegetation. I'm not sure if all the council knows, but we do have a motorized trimmer that staff uses to trim LMD landscape. The concrete plant, I'm not sure if you guys have noticed, but concrete plant is no longer at the wastewater plant. That has been removed. It's no longer being leased to Briscoe Enterprise for concrete purposes. We ran out of room at the courtyard. I needed the room to store our base rock, our asphalt, compost, wood chips, sand. So this is where the old plant used to be. All got removed and cleaned up. And we'll be utilizing that area, as I said, for storage for our base rock and asphalt, compost, wood chips. And it gives us a larger area to have our community events as well. Leaning pole. Resident reported a leaning pole to Public Works. So staff at Public Works assisted the resident in identifying who was responsible for that pole, which ended up being Frontier, and Frontier was notified, and they're scheduled repairs for tomorrow. That location of that leaning pole is in the alley between Main and Second, across from the high school. Some park vandalism at Memorial and Frederick Warden Park. Unfortunately, somebody wanted to hang out at Memorial Park restroom and start lighting stuff on fire in there. I did post this on our social media page in Public Works that somebody had previously went out to Frederick Warden and vandalized some of the playground equipment. Main Street Sidewalk Rehabilitation Project. This project is currently being performed by our concrete crew, our part-time concrete crew. As you can see on the left, this is a return ramp that is in really bad shape, falling apart, as well as cracked sidewalk. And over here as well. Picture on the right is an after picture. They did repair this area already. After. So this corner here is this return ramp. All got demoed and removed. The crew poured a gutter pan. Really can't see it in the previous picture because there's been numerous overlays over the years in the road. But they have poured the gutter pan now, curb and gutter, repaired the sidewalk area. Couple pictures of demolition in progress, forming, rebarring for the driveway approach. This is a Measure V funded project. And here's some after pictures. This is that same corner return ramp, sidewalk repair, new sidewalk, new driveway approach. Concrete crew is instructed to pour stamped concrete as well. That way we could match the beautification project that was completed on Main Street previously from D to true value. So this project I did put on pause for now. That way staff has enough time to order some hot, get this rolled and cleaned up and ready for our Christmas parade. And once the Christmas parade is completed, then have staff continue with the rehabilitation project. And I'll end this presentation with a picture of the Public Works team. And these are the men and women that get the work done day in, day out. Happy to answer any questions that council may have.
Council, any questions? Yes, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so staff, it's a great question, Councilmember Gopal. So staff did look at that area because it does flood there quite a bit. So what we've identified is a potential project to install what's called an undershot, just to take that water, that puddled water on the other side of the street and let it flow under the street through a pipe out into the curb and gutter on Peach. That way we get it across the road so it doesn't flood as much there. So that is a project that we have looked at and we've identified a need there.
Council, anybody else?
Mr. Mayor, no questions. Just want to say thanks for the update.
great work. I've been getting a few messages here and there, especially with the progress on those sidewalks over on Walnut and Dwight. It's a good thing that they see that coming, and I just want to remind people that some of those, or part of those projects are in regards to residents asking and, for a long time and petition to do a walk path in that area and, complete those sidewalks and stuff like that. And I think, that goes to show that they should continue providing input and recommendations to the city on what they want on their side of town. And thankfully this time I didn't have to be out there during the rainy days and with my rake.
Directing traffic.
Directing traffic. I stayed home, and you guys did all the work, and great work, and always trying to do it ahead of time. That's always great to not wait until the last minute, or at least now. Also because we had. I know you shared that information before, but the addition or the additional pumping, was that the refurbishing or upgrading of the pump station that assisted in preventing?
Yeah, East Avenue, glad you brought that up, Mayor. East Avenue was, last year, it was during summertime, was completely renovated. Old antiquated pump was removed, and new equipment was installed. A new pump was installed there. And so that had played a major role in preventing flooding in some of the areas that were used to flood on North Main.
All right, thank you. Council, anyone else? All right, thanks, Anthony.
Thank you.
Lights. Yeah, we have PD is going to share a little bit, but first I'll have Recreation come up.
Guys all had a great Thanksgiving. I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that this Friday is the lighting of the Court of Trees, our grand lighting, and the junior high will be out with their full lit up gear and playing Christmas carols for us. And then our folkloric dance class, the little girls will be out doing some festive dancing right before we light the trees. So if you guys are around, please come out. It never disappoints. You can see we're setting up the trees. I do have 3 trees available, so if you know somebody who wants one, have them give me a call, and we'll be happy to hook them up. So then the following Friday night is the Christmas parade. Thank you, Anthony, for all the guys out there and their support. We really appreciate it. And we have a car, and you'll be giving that announcement to the guys later. So anyway, it's going to be a great holiday time for our community, and it's so neat to see people out with their families working together and in the spirit of things. So if you don't have any questions, that's all I have.
Council, any questions?
It's my granddaughter's 5th birthday, and we get to celebrate it over here
Oh, yay.
this Friday.
All right,
She'll be 5 years old.
My goodness.
All right, anyone else? All right. Thank you, Jackie. Mr. Ramirez?
Yes. So next, I'm going to have engineering do a little presentation as it relates to the Hammett and Campbell intersection. While they prepare for that, I'll kind of start by providing council a little bit of historical information related to that specific intersection. Council might recall that back in, I believe it was in 2020, 2021, we wanted to get ahead of the Moonglow and the Arco projects that were going to be constructed on those 2 corners. And so one of the things that we did is we decided to go to MCAG and ask for a transfer of funds from the transit and where the ACE train is going to be, and to basically use that funds over here on Campbell and Hammett. Unfortunately, that project was put on hold in, I believe it was late 2021. And then that project has basically been on standstill and up until April, May of this year. So with that context, we're trying to move forward and address, that intersection quickly, efficiently, especially because there's been some, accidents there, and so I know Chief is going to talk a little bit about the traffic committee and some of the things that they're going to recommend on a temporary basis for that intersection. There's a lot of moving parts. Of course, Caltrans is involved. You have to have synchronized signalization. You have to bring power, so we have to work with MID, and there's all kinds of road improvements and things of that nature. So I'm sure that with putting stop signs there, if that's what the PD decides and the traffic committee decides to do on a temporary basis, there's going to be increased safety, but there's also going to be increased congestion, at least for a while. So I'll be in and out of the presentation, so go ahead, either of you, if you guys want to present.
Sure. Thank you, City Manager. Yes, good evening, Mayor and council members. Yeah, like Jose Antonio said, we're here to do a quick presentation on the status of the Hammond and Campbell traffic signal project. And there on the screen, you'll see some items related to the project, which City Manager already has gone over. Just to highlight or to add to the background here, a couple of the items there. It's in regards to Caltrans being engaged back in 2021, 2022, and the city coordinating with them for the master planned intersection that was prepared by our office back in 2020. And then also to highlight that the project did receive additional Measure B funding in 2023 for an expanded scope of work, which Danny here to my side is going to touch on later in the presentation. So with that, we'll go into the project timeline and completion progress.
So just to highlight, since the project was reinitiated in May, there's been a number of things that have happened over the summer, some of which have been updates to survey information since the ARCO project has constructed their improvements, and we're adding and incorporating those as-built and that information into the existing project layout. We're currently moving forward towards 60% design plans. We have re-engaged with Caltrans to make them aware of the project and the project improvements. We're having multiple meetings with Caltrans over the next couple months to go over the signalization, all of the improvements that would be within the city's right-of-way, and any improvements that might occur in the Caltrans right-of-way, and what those improvements might entail as far as encroachment permit or some other direction. So below, at the bottom is a estimated project timeline on when certain events will happen. Currently, the project is set to be in design until June of this coming year. And then there will be funding components that need to be handled, and then it can go out to bid. And then the proposed construction timeline is there. There's a number of different components that go along with that proposed construction timeline, and it's estimated at this time to take about 7 months and be operational sometime summer of '27.
Yeah, one of the important issues here is, given that you have the construction that's going on with Moonglow, there's probably going to be at least a 6-month coordination, period with Moonglow when they're finishing up with when the construction of all this is going to happen. So we're going to have to manage that, especially if the traffic committee decides that they're going to put, stop signs, temporary stop signs in that intersection. And then we're going to have to wrestle a little bit with Caltrans on several fronts, but one of them is certainly that right turn as you come from the Campbell going towards Freeway 99 and making a right. That there needs to be addressed. And then there's some not much lead time, but still, from 3 to 4 months lead time on, buying a lot of these, signalization poles and cabinets and all those things that you need for the signalization. And the expanded scope of work includes, I always get that road, is that Walnut? Yeah. So the improvements to Walnut. Initially, it was just the Campbell and Hammett intersection. Now this also includes the Walnut and Hammett intersection. So, go ahead.
So just to continue on what the city manager was describing, so the initial project scope that was put in for the project included signalizing the intersection with traffic signals, and then improvements within the pink area shown on the map, and that would be pavement, curb gutter, ramp, and some sidewalk improvements. And then later on, it was expanded to include the rest of Hammett all the way into Walnut, pavement rehabilitation, and then to address some things at Walnut where there seems to be some undulation there in the pavement. And then additionally, as was described earlier, there will be signal synchronization between the two signals. So that work will also be included in the construction component.
Also, to add, city manager, not sure if you touched on this, but we have looked into not only installing a temporary stop signs on the four legs of the intersection here. We've also looked into doing possibly temporary traffic signals between now and the time when Moonglow opens up, but that is not a feasible option at this time, and like city manager said,
So
the chief is going to go into
So in
details.
terms of possible options, there's equipment that, we can rent. But if I remember correctly, just, from my experience, especially if we're talking, 6-7 months, and if the equipment costs, I don't know, about $25K a month, I mean, that's a lot of money. Now, the other option could possibly be, putting in some wood poles and then having some what I call like span wires. Okay, that could be another option, but we have to look at, of course, the cost. So if we can push Caltrans and we can get the electrical engineers and everybody kind of go, there should be a small overlap, especially with construction. And so the temporary solution, if that's what the traffic committee decides with stop signs, because and Chief, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but what I've seen is that the majority of the congestion is in the morning and not necessarily at other hours of the day, maybe towards when folks are done with work. And so there'll be a little bit of overlap with Moonglow. And if their time frame is being done by November of 2026, or possibly, go over into 2027, then the window should be smaller, and we should be able to manage that and then save some money. But, the council is, whatever's council direction is great.
Additionally, on the stop sign component, we have looked at the possibility of doing a solar lighted stop sign to bring more notability to those stop locations.
That's something certainly that the traffic committee can take into account. Anything else? Are we good? All right, any questions from council?
Council, any questions? No, we're good. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, so now we'll go to PD, and PD will share a little bit about the traffic committee and anything else the chief would like to share with council and the public.
Good evening, council. John Ramirez, interim chief of police. Good evening, audience. So just wanted to share a few things. Definitely, I'll start off with the traffic committee. So we do have a date set for the next meeting, which will be December 10th, 2025 at 2 p.m. and it's going to be at the council chambers. If anybody has anything they'd like to add or has any questions, they can either show up in person, or they could also reach out to Sergeant Donald Cole at dcole, C-O-L-E, at livingstonca.gov. And one of the big ticket items we will be talking about will be the intersection that they just discussed. That's something that we're definitely seeing. We've seen quite a few bad accidents, collisions in that area over the last year. And just off the top of my head, I was talking to Mr. Gouvet the other day, and one of the things I mentioned was possibly putting up a temporary stop signs. But again, we'll be talking about this in further detail during the meeting on the 10th. So we'll gather ideas, and like they just had, even having the solar stop signs would be a possible recommendation as well. So I don't want to get too far into our meeting, but we'll definitely be discussing that because we do see an issue going on there. And then also wanted to let everybody know and thank the community and business leaders and some of the local businesses in town for donating to our Cops for Kids this year for Christmas. Tomorrow we'll be doing some shopping, and this year so far we've raised about $6,000, which is pretty good. And we also use leftover money from last year to buy Christmas gifts, which obviously it goes straight back into the community. So again, we want to thank anybody that's has donated or will be donating. We will also be putting out a list probably the end of December with everybody that donated. And that, again, we'll be giving the gifts out on December 10th, and that'll be from 2 to 6 p.m. I know a couple council members have reached out asking the date and time, so be more than, if you're available, we'd like you to show up if you could. And we will have, Santa will be joining us that day as well. And then last, I wanted to just quickly talk about, there was some information on Facebook. People were asking, there was a lot of police presence last Wednesday, November 26th, about 7:30 in the morning or so. Got a few calls to dispatch, and some council members I know reached out. And I know just about 2 hours ago, the Sheriff's Department put out a press release. So anytime an operation like that is done, they reach out to our dispatch and let our dispatcher know what's going on. Sometimes they give us details, sometimes we're involved. This incident here, we were not involved, so there was no Livingston police officers present, although we did know about it, so officers are kind of supposed to stay clear from the area. But I'll just read out the press release that they put out. So on November 26th, Merced Sheriff's Department Detectives Bureau authored 2 search warrants related to illegal firearms trafficking at 2 residences located in the 2400 block of Sultana Drive in Atwater and the 900 block of Montelena Court in Livingston, California. Detectives, with the assistance of Merced Sheriff's SWAT team and Merced County Probation, executed the warrants, and one suspect was identified and arrested from Atwater. He was booked into Merced County Sheriff's Department jail on a Ramey warrant for manufacture, sale, or possession of an undetectable firearm and possession of an assault weapon. A total of 7 rifles, 5 handguns with several magazines and ammunition were located during the search warrants. The guns vary from undetectable privately manufactured firearms and stolen firearms, one of which was converted into a machine gun. So that is all the information that I have, which they put out in the press release, but I also wanted to just tell them that they did an amazing job. Obviously, the calls for service of the case originated outside of the city of Livingston, and they were able to pick up this case and worked it, and it came to our town. They were able to serve a search warrant in our city and make it a little bit safer that day. So I want to also reach out and tell them thank you. That's all I had.
All right, thank you. Council, any questions?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, go ahead.
Chief, can you please repeat the date and time window for the Cops for Kids event?
Yeah, so it's going to be the 10th, December 10th, and it's going to be from about 2 p.m. We'll be starting to about 6 or 6:30 in the evening.
Thank you.
Yes, and they'll be in front of the police station.
Anything else? All right, thank you. Appreciate it. Any other city? So next we have city manager announcements and reports.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and council and public. So last week we had an opportunity to visit the Turlock and City of Ceres surface water treatment plant. It was something that was initiated by Mayor Moran, and Mr. Upal accompanied myself and Public Works, and we had we were there for at least an hour and some change. We got an opportunity to basically hear everything from the get-go. That was at least a 20-year planning project, and initially there was a number of different cities that were part of that project, and ultimately it just came down to 2 municipalities, and they do have some type of partnership with the Turlock Irrigation District. But it's a fascinating plant, a state-of-the-art plant. They call it a Cadillac plant, and so we certainly had an opportunity to learn a lot of different things. And one of the things that makes it unique is that it is a surface water treatment plant. The majority of the plants that you see here in the valley are all groundwater, and those require special, to staff those is not as easy as it sounds, but it is doable, especially if we can initiate, that. Let me just take a step back. The city of Livingston has been focused and looking at diversifying its water portfolio, its water security plan. And so since 2011-12, there has been a focus on having hybrid centralization plants, and that's what we've been doing rather than the individual wellhead treatment that used to exist before. And in addition to that, have looked at surface water. And one of the reasons is that we're lucky is because we have the Merced River very close by, and the city actually owns 100 acres that's currently being decommissioned by Foster Farms, which is part of the industrial wastewater treatment plant. And there's been talks with MID, and there's a lot of permits, there's a lot of everything, and even though that's in the future, it's never too early to start looking at, and planning for all these different things. And one of the things that is new this year is that there seems to be interest by Atwater in a surface water treatment plant, partnership, and possibly the county as well. We're looking at getting some funding, CDBG funding, to do a technical study to look at the feasibility of a regional surface water treatment plant. We thank the mayor of Mr. Lopez from Ceres, Christopher, who's the general manager of the Turlock facility, and I don't remember the gal from Livingston. She actually graduated from Selena. Yeah, she actually graduated from here, and then she moved on. So good for her. I don't want to steal any more info. I don't know if there's anything you want to add, Mayor, or Jabjeet, or add.
Well, yeah, the only thing I mean, you pretty much summarized it, but one of the things that you mentioned and that they mentioned, that this was a 20-year project. Well, from the time they started to talk or having those conversations with the different agencies, but I hope that, this is not a 20-year project. So I think that we're really motivated to making it happen. I mean, obviously, it's not going to be a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year thing, but hopefully not take 20 years. And this is going to take this council and the next council and the people and the residents coming forward to make sure that this project or these type of conversations don't get kicked down the road. Because, we want to make sure that City of Livingston has access to a good amount of water, whether we grow slow or grow fast. And I think water is essential. So, but other than that, I want to say thank you to the mayor from the city of Ceres, Mr. Lopez, and everybody else that participated to make this happen. Potentially, we were thinking that possibly that was not going to happen until after New Year's, but they're like, how soon do you guys want to come over? So it was like next week. So we just made it happen as soon as possible, and it was very interesting to see the way they have it set up. It was a very nice plant. I think it doesn't really take a lot of people, a lot of employees, but it takes highly qualified employees to be able to run that plant smoothly 24 hours a day, 365. And so, but very impressed with the way they had it set up.
Yeah, that is if I remember correctly, I think it was a $200 million plant. Of course, these days, millions. And so one of the things that we're looking at here is trying to, again, it's all going to depend on now that there's a regional aspect to this, but from the get-go, we were looking at a modular system that we can just grow and add and so forth. So it's going to be interesting. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
Just very quickly on this note, definitely wanted to give a shout out to Atwater City Manager Chris Holm. I know at the city, and Mr. Ramirez mentioned, this has been in discussions for a long time. This specific conversation that led to us looking a little bit deeper, eventually getting on a tour, was initiated by their CM back at MCAG's One Voice trip, and appreciate them being a partner in this.
Council, anything else? Questions?
Not on this particular item, but I do have another question for Mr. Ramirez when you get done with your update. Are you done? I've had a lot of folks ask me, because now that they're building River Glen Apartments, when is Wind Parkway going to get connected to F? Can you give a little update on where we're at, just so people know?
Yes, absolutely. I was only done for that item. There's a few other things, but I'll jump on this one. So in terms of Winton Parkway, first of all, I want to thank the Livingston Unified School District and our council. There's a lot of moving parts, so we went out and we went out and identified a MAI appraiser. They did the appraisal on the right-of-way and also on the easement. Those are two separate pieces, one for PG&E and one for the road. We've been working really closely with Self-Help Housing, which is building, those apartments. Mr. Castillo, who owns some property along that stretch, and then Mr. Galvan, that also owns there. And then we've been in contact with MID, because MID, of course, was requiring the city to underground the canal, which is going to be on the side closest to B Street. It's going to be underground this winter. And so they basically have hold off on getting the city to underground the canal now. And so that's, so the update right now as relates to that is we want to get everything done with the help of legal, is get all the agreements in place. One thing that the school district, there was a recommendation by our legal, but the school district, I talked to Mr. Zamora today, they don't want to surplus their property, because it's a lot longer and it requires some expenses on their end, legally, or on the legal end. They rather continue where it's a friendly eminent domain and have a simple agreement. And we need to do all of this before March, because that's when Self-Help, who wants to do the entire project, and we just basically pay our fair share, wants to get that project started. So that's the update on that. And, lastly, it's not going to be 4 lanes. At the initial start, is going to be 2 lanes, and in the future, when we get additional funds, hopefully we can, leverage Measure C and let them, Measure V funds, and let them know that this is a regional significant project and we can get funding. So that's on that. I want to move over now to Measure L and Measure V. We still are looking for folks to, apply to the Measure L. I believe we only have two people that have applied. We need a total of 5, so we still need, if there's anybody else out there that's interested in applying for the Measure L, that would be great. On the Measure V, we need 1, and that's to serve at the MCAG level. And let me see, do I have anything else? Oh, and then I also need to know if there's going to be any representation on the council going to DC for next year on the One Voice trip. And if so, of course, there's a delegation forms that need to do, and then we have to, assign and go from there. That's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Quick question on the delegation to DC. What is the recommendation from MCAG to have those applications and paperwork submitted to them by?
If I remember correctly, we basically have like a couple of weeks. Yeah, so it has to be fairly soon.
Okay. So a couple of weeks from now? Okay. Oh, okay. So either bring it up at the next council meeting, and then we can start the conversation then. Council, any other questions for Mr. Ramirez?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, just wanted to flag, been doing some targeted outreach for the Measure L and Measure V committees. I know we've been trying to get those filled for a while, not really striking any luck with the specific folks that I reached out to, so maybe we need to do something more targeted publicly. I'm not sure what the response has been from the rest of the council side when you reached out to people, but having a tough time right now encouraging folks to apply, so we may need to consider more of a public approach.
Ramirez, maybe if you can expand a little bit on what the requirements are or the expectations for applicants that might be interested in Measure L and also Measure V. I know that for Measure V, I think it's a meeting once every 3 months, probably for about 45 minutes to an hour or so. What about for Measure L?
So Measure L, basically, it's the oversight of all the measure that was approved by the voters for the beginning of this year, so that we can look at using that money for public safety, and that includes, police and fire. Even though council has basically directed staff to focus on getting our fire department up and running as a standalone as soon as possible. So at least for the first 2-3 years, that's kind of where the funds are going to be directed. So in essence, there shouldn't be more than maybe 3 or 4 meetings a year. You know, and then there's going to be, it's basically providing oversight for the expenditure of the funds and making sure that the money is used as the voters intended. So again, is there going to be, I anticipate, you know, a quarterly meeting, you know, 4 meetings a year, and possibly 1 meeting so that when the auditor, you know, comes by and audits, you know, the books. But you're not going to do this on your own. You will have staff support. And so the meetings shouldn't take more than an hour. We try to encompass everything within 1 hour, and we try to work with those that are on the committee ultimately as it relates to when it best works, you know, for the majority of those who get appointed.
Are there any restrictions to the people applying in regards to anybody on occurring commissions, whether it's recreation commissions or planning?
No restrictions, but if you remember when the oversight committee was, or the oversight committee was looked at, there was interest in making sure to have, you know, a broad representation of people, you know, from schools, elderly, public safety, but there is no quota, and so at this point, you know, well, everybody can apply. The only thing I think that you guys did say in there was that they have to be from Livingston, and it's okay that they are part of public safety, but they can't be part of public safety here.
Got it. Any other questions? All right, we're moving forward. Item number 5, conflict of interest declaration. Members of the City Council will declare an actual or apparent conflict of interest before discussions or decisions about any matters in which they or anyone with whom they have a close personal relationship could directly or indirectly benefit, or where such a benefit could be perceived. Council, any conflict of interest declarations? Seeing none, we're moving forward. Item number 6. So now we're getting to the consent agenda. We do have only items 6.1, 6.2, 6.3, and 6.6 in the consent, but 6.4 and 6.5 pull for a separate consideration. Are there any questions on any other items, or is there a motion to approve? All right, so 8:04, let me go out for public comment. Is there any public comment on the phone in regards to the consent agenda items? Hearing none, coming back into the chamber. 8:05, any comments on the consent agenda items in the chamber? Seeing none, bringing it back to the dais at 8:05. Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, I make the motion we approve item 6.1, 6.2, 6.3, and 6.6.
So we have a motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem Samra. Is there a second?
I'll second it, Mr. Mayor.
Second by Councilmember Wallace. Roll call, please.
Roll call, Councilmember Roth,
Yes.
Councilmember Upal,
Yes.
Councilmember Wallace,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Samra,
Yes.
Mayor Moran.
Yes.
Motion passes by a vote of 5-0.
Next, we have 6.4, which is a resolution authorizing the renewal of the Cetron Connected Care Service contract with Telepath Corporation for a 5-year term. And I'm not sure who pulled this item.
Mr. Malone, I pulled this item. I have no questions for Chief, nor do I have any concerns with the item itself, just related to some resolution language that I wanted to pull it. As I was going through the staff report, I saw that item 6.4 and 6.5 did not include fund numbers in the resolution. I know I've seen that in several other items, so I figured we'd just go with standard practice there and put the fund numbers in. I did communicate with staff prior to the meeting on making sure that the fund numbers were accurate, and also suggested and requested some sample language to use, which we got back. And if it's okay with council, for item 6.4 specifically, we can amend section 4 of the resolution in its entirety to say, and this is almost verbatim from the staff report itself, that, quote, "This amount is tax exempt and will be allocated from the department's operating budget, account number 1100-102-4310, parentheses, contract services, and will be funded with salary savings from the current operating budget, account number 1100-102-4110. And this language is with the clerk right now as well, so that we can get it into the record.
All right, so let me go out for public comment on this item. Is there any public comment or citizen comment on item 6.4? Or anyone on the phone? Hearing none, coming back to the chamber at 8:07. Any comments in the chamber? Seeing none, closing the public comments at 8:07, bringing it back to the dais. Is there any other questions, comments, additions, recommendations on the dais?
Mr. Mayor, if there's no questions, comments, or concerns from council, I'll motion to approve item 6.5 with the previously stated edit to the resolution.
Clarification, you mean item 6.4?
Sorry, 6.4, apologies.
Thank you. So we have a motion on the floor by Councilmember Paul. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Councilmember Roth. Roll call, please.
Roll call, Councilmember Roth,
Yes.
Councilmember Paul,
Yes.
Councilmember Wallace,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Semra,
Yes.
Mayor Moran.
Yes.
Motion passes by a vote of 5-0.
Next, we have 6.5, resolution authorizing the city manager to sign a purchase agreement for a Spartan Gladiator MFD Type 1 pumper from High Tech for $1,236,000, $985.58, and authorize supplemental appropriations from funds funding the purchase.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and Council. First, we want to strike out Gladiator and insert MetroStar as part of the entirety of the staff report and the resolution. There's different models out there. And so again, Gladiator striked out and replaced with MetroStar wherever it's located in the staff report and the resolution. I want to thank, of course, the volunteer fire department, the committee, Mr. Bates, and all those who make up the volunteer fire department, also the mayor and Mr. Upal, who are part of the fire committee, and all the other staffers, and also our consultants. A lot of work has been, put into a lot of different things as it relates to our goal of becoming our own standalone fire department. But specifically to this particular project, there's been some visits to High Tech, which is, not too far away down the street. And there's been a lot of back and forth, and so there had to be an actual spec sheet that had to be put together. Then we had to look at, cooperative purchasing programs out there, and the city happens to be part of the HGAC by cooperative purchasing program, and so with that, the city is piggybacking off of that. And we are, so the actual proposal that you see in the packet here is to purchase from High Tech Emergency Vehicle Service, Inc. out of Oakdale to buy a High Tech Spartan MetroStar MFD Type 1 pumper with a 10-inch raised roof, a 2027 emission 450 HP Cummins X10 engine, Allison 3000 EVS transmission with a 1,500 GPM Hale valve. And staff did a complete analysis of all this because there's 4 ways that we could have gone. One is to do a no prepay, do a prepay chassis at chassis delivery. a prepaid chassis at contract signing or full prepay at contract signing. So the best option that we found is take into account, we want to get this truck delivered as soon as possible, but we also want to make sure that we, get discounts or make whole on, on interest and so forth and so on. So the best option that we came up with was a prepaid chassis at chassis delivery. And they're basically saying that between 240 to 365 days from receipt of chassis, we should have our new truck. So basically what that means is it's probably going to be close to 24 months before we get it. Now, with doing the they think that it's going to be less time than that. But this actually puts us in the driver's seat to have a replacement for one of the trucks that we currently have. And again, I want to thank all those that were involved, because there is a lot of work here. And so the actual total unit cost is $1,236,985.58. And that's it, unless council has any questions.
Council? Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I pulled it because, of course, I believe in that we should get the truck and we need it. But also that anytime something is 1.2,036,000, I didn't think it should have just been on a consent. It needs to have a little bit of discussion, and also I wanted to make sure that our illustrious volunteers and everybody agrees that is the best option that we have, and that's fits the city's needs. I don't know if anybody wants to speak on it. I don't want to put anybody on the spot if you don't want to, but does somebody want to get up and say, do you guys agree that this is the best for the city? I mean, CAL FIRE, anybody can come forward, Does anybody want to speak? Or you guys, if you feel uncomfortable, we get it, that's not a problem either, so. Yeah, no, I was asking because he's a volunteer firefighter, so I was asking. It was not as a public, I was asking as a professional. But either way, Mr. Mayor, if you want to open it, that's fine too. But I wanted to ask the buy-in from the volunteers.
So I think it would be best, we can open up the public comment at this time at 8:14. Go ahead, Mr. Bates.
I'd just like to thank council for considering this item and for considering the purchase of new fire apparatus. It's been, notwithstanding the brush rig that we got a few years ago, our lead engine is 25 years old, and we are definitely due for an upgrade. And so, from what I've seen of everything, it sounds like a great engine. So, again, I thank council for considering it and hope that you approve it. Thank you.
Thank you. Council, any questions, any specific questions for Mr. Bates or anybody else?
No, this is just for city manager. Is it equipped with a ladder that'll reach a 3-story building? That was a big concern.
No.
That is in the works. Yeah, that's a different truck. Yeah. But since you brought that up, of course, this is just for the actual truck itself. So any accessories, anything that needs equipment, anything that needs to be added, that is, that's extra.
So Jose Flores, educator, firefighter, just to throw that out there. But the topic of a fire truck. So I'm in the planning commission also. But before being in the planning commission, that was my biggest concern, is when our former or one of our fire chiefs approved or recommended us having 3-story buildings, was I brought up the NFPA standards of why we shouldn't have 3-story buildings in the city of Livingston and how we would need a ladder truck based on what we're allowing in our community. So that is something that now that the city is going to its own fire department, now you guys will have the liability of having to outfit the fire department to meet the standard for fire protection on those three-story buildings going forward. And then noting the cost of this fire engine, if we would have purchased this 10 years ago, it would have been half the price. So the next topic would be, we're purchasing a new engine, is what is the plan for the next one? Because these things are not going to get cheaper. The manufacturers that are building these things are becoming less and less, and the price tags are it's just going up. So maybe having, like the city of Merced has a plan for, the purchase of fire engines within a certain time frame, so that they're outfitted with the appropriate response for their community. And I think this is something that now that we're going to our own department, that needs to be addressed, because that cost is always going to be there, and it's just going to get worse as time goes. So.
Yeah, great comments, Mr. Flores. So yes, so as part of the Fire Ad Hoc Committee, and of course the oversight for Measure L, it's important to have an expenditure plan. And typically you have the expenditure plans set in place prior to passing the measure and outlining everything you need. Not beating anybody up. I'm just saying that that would have been great. But the great thing here is that we're charting our own destiny, and so now we're already looking to that everything that we need. A fire truck with the appropriate ladders on it. Where is our second fire station going to be, and how is it going to be equipped, and all the different equipment. In addition to that, development has to pay their own way, so we have to look at, development impact fees, and Measure L, because that has to be shared with, the other side of public safety. So there's a lot of moving parts, but with everybody's help, I'm sure that we will get to a place where we can address and mitigate a lot of these risks. One other thing that's very, very important here is that the staffing, and making sure that we hire the right amount of staff, that we have the proper dispatching, the proper training, and we're still going to depend from folks from the outside for specialized training, because there's things in-house that we can't do. But overall, I think we're going to be in a good spot. And right now, the target date is to have a functionally running fire department by July 1st of next year.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, go
I
ahead.
have just a couple quick questions. Was this apparatus run by our consultant that we hired for the fire department? And she was aware of this?
Yes, Mr. Wallace. Yeah.
Okay. And then my next question, will it fit in the building? I don't know how many feet it is versus our building. Well, is it going to fit or not?
But the answer is yes.
Okay.
And did I measure? Did I personally go out and measure? No. But in terms of the high tech and the specs and the folks who were part of putting all this thing together, it should fit in there.
Is there any additional citizen comments in the chamber in regards to this item? Closing the citizen comments, is there anyone else on the phone with comments or questions in regards to this item at 8:20? Hearing none, closing the citizen comments at 8:20, bringing it back to the dais. I think another thing that's important, and I think it was partially mentioned, that moving forward, and thank you for bringing that up, that or just reminding us and moving forward that whether or not this truck had or was fitted to be able to service an emergency on 3-story buildings. And yes, even though we could add to it later, I think it's important because these projects don't take 1 or 2 years. And I'm glad that you also mentioned to be able to have a plan moving forward, having a little savings account, so that in 6 years or 5 years from now, continue buying or replacing some of the equipment that is getting old or overused, and not get caught in a situation to where now we have to replace it, now we got to figure out how to come up with the money. And that's also important for this council and the future councils, and also for the residents to be able to remind the city to making sure that what they should be doing or what the residents want to be done, and not wait, not be in a situation that we're in right now. But I think it's important to note that we're moving forward, we're trying our best, and but there's a lot more work that needs to be done moving forward. So, council, are there any other questions, comments?
Mr. Mayor,
This specific item? Yes.
just a few comments. First things first, want to thank city manager, consultants, staff, and all of our volunteer folks who worked on this item and brought this forward. Definitely want to give a shout out to the residents as well. This wouldn't be possible on the financing side if our residents didn't step up and pass Measure L. As we know, that's going to be our biggest propper for all things fire moving forward and public safety in general. And Mr. Flores, a couple points to your comments. One, really appreciate that you're here giving us insight. Please continue to engage and forward stuff that you want to make sure that we're discussing with our consultants. It's always good to get perspective from as many heads as possible and incorporate that thinking into our work. And then on the manufacturing piece, as all of our folks in the fire industry know, even better than I do, there's been a lot of consolidation in the fire truck manufacturing industry, several industries, but that one as well, where lead times are very high. Not too many companies that build them anymore. There was actually just a major merger within the last 2 to 3 weeks, which doesn't make things any easier. And flagging this for council right now, because I've mentioned the legislative platform before that would be nice to have for the city. I do plan to bring that for your review and potential amendments at our next meeting. And one of the items that I will be including in there is advocating for policies and systems that promote competition and break up consolidated industries with the focus on fire. And I would like us to be very aggressive going into the new year on showing our support for antitrust policy work at the state AG level to break up some of these fire industries, because this is a huge public safety issue, not just for us, but cities all across the state and really all over the country where you need essential equipment and it's not getting here because you have companies that are too big to care, is really what it is. And so definitely keep that in your ear. Cal Cities has been doing some work on this. We'll be working with our regional folks to see if they're interested in engaging on their side. And I think we really have an opportunity to be leaders in this advocacy, because I don't see a lot of other cities stepping up aggressively to go after it. So appreciate your comments and definitely want to keep that going moving forward.
Council, anything else? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve.
Mr. Mayor, I'll motion to approve.
So we have a motion on the floor by Councilmember Paul. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Councilmember Roth. Roll call, please.
So you want to approve the resolution with the,
Sorry, Monica, hold up. I apologize. I had some potential amendments to this as well. So again, fund numbers were not included here. We will be pulling from a number of funds. Also received recommendation from staff to increase the appropriation limit a little bit, just in case there's some, I know maybe change orders may not be the best word here, but if something comes up where we need to spend a little bit extra, so we can beef up to maybe $1.3 million total. That would be about a $63,000 supplemental appropriation that we can get up to get to that mark. And council, if you're okay with it, we would amend section 1 of our resolution to say, and this is verbatim from staff, quote, after the "and authorize" words, and authorize supplemental appropriations not to exceed $63,000 to cover any unforeseen costs. Authorize the city manager to make a down payment not to exceed $600,000 for the purchase of the Type 1 chassis. Funding for the purchase of the fire truck will be funded from the following funds: General Fund, Measure L, Fire Impact Fee, Fleet Replacement Fee, CFDs 1207, 1209, and 1213, and fire property tax. And the fund numbers are listed from staff and with the clerk at this time if we want to get them into the record.
Council, any questions in regards to that before we move forward with that?
Is that offered as a friendly amendment?
I'm sorry?
Was that offered as a friendly amendment then to your original motion?
Yes, that I would like to motion with the listed amendment to section 1 of the resolution and approve the item.
So if that's okay with the seconder, then that would be the motion.
Second it.
Roll call, please.
Roll call, Councilmember Roth,
Yes.
Councilmember Upal,
Yes.
Councilmember Wallace,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Semer,
Yes.
Mayor Moran.
Yes.
Motion passes by a vote of 5-0.
Thank you. Next, we have items 7, public hearing, 7.1, resolution annexing of territory to a community facilities district, authorizing the levy of special tax and submitting levy of tax to qualified electors. City of Livingston Community Facilities District number 2017-1, annexation number 4, and resolution declaring results of a special annexation election, determining validity of a prior proceedings, and directing recording of amended notice of special tax lien. City of Livingston Community Facilities District 2017-1, annexation number 4.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and Council, I had an opportunity to speak to Wilden because I basically was questioning whether or not we actually needed to do, have this public hearing related to the CFD, because that portion was annexed into the CFD when the Livingston Medical Clinic bought the property and actually subdivided it and sold some of that over to self-help housing. So there was confirmation today that it indeed happened back then. So we don't need to move forward with the public hearing. So this can be tabled.
So I think if you wanted to entertain a motion to table, and then if there's public comment, there's an opportunity.
So would it be to table or to just dismiss it?
I think
Because if we table it, then that means we're going to bring it back.
it's.
I dismissal, I said table, but yeah, dismissal. We don't need
Table
it.
indefinitely.
Yeah, table indefinitely. That way, if it does have to come back, it can come back, but it sounds like it doesn't.
All right, so, but I want to go out for public comment, right? Because it's still agendized. So at this time, at 8:29, is there any public comment on the phone in regards to this item? Is there any public comment in the chamber in regards to this item? Closing the citizen comments at 8:29, bringing it back to the dais. So the motion would be to table this indefinitely.
Mr. Mayor, I make the motion that we table indefinitely item number 7.1.
So we have a motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem Summer. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Councilmember Roth. Roll call, please.
Roll call, Councilmember Roth,
Yes.
Councilmember Upal,
Yes.
Councilmember Wallace,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Semer,
Yes.
Mayor Moran.
Yes.
Motion passes by a vote of 5-0.
And one last item related to this. So if there was any expenditures, we're going to get it all reimbursed because it would be on Wilden and not the city. So there shouldn't be any money on the city side. We should be made whole.
All right, item number 8, discussion and potential action items. Item 8.1, discussion and direction regarding city travel policy. Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Moran, thank you. So council, I requested this item, I believe a couple meetings back. On October 20th, I believe we all received emails from staff stating that the city had updated its internal travel policy for all city officials, elected and staff. And while I was reading through the policy, generally like what was put together, there's some good language in there. I think we can do a little bit more to make sure we're more accountable on our trips, and I'll tell you a little bit what that thinking is coming from. I'm not sure if all the folks of this room heard about the grand jury report that came out of Stanislaus County earlier this year, specifically related to StanCog. They're kind of the MCAG of Stanislaus County. We have a CAG, they have a COG, same idea. Their executive director was found over a 3.5-year period to have spent over $100,000 of StanCog money on rental cars, tens of thousands of dollars on hotels, multi-$100 meals. There were council members in Stanislaus County who had also spent very high amounts on their travel costs, and it's one of those things that would have never came out unless a whistleblower, bless them, whoever they are, made a report to the grand jury, which led to an investigation where it was found that there was this huge, essentially fraud of taxpayer funds. Now, as we know, I'm sure all the folks in this room have been to some form of conference professionally at some point, hopefully recently as well. But we all know when we go to conferences, there's people that are there to attend the conference, learn something, and bring it back, and there's folks that are there to party. Like, it's very clear what's happening and who's doing what. We all see that, and I think it's important that we put measures in place that when we allow ourselves to use our citizens' dollars to go places, we make sure that we're bringing something back to the city, and it's identifiable, it's tangible, it's written, it's presented, and we can provide some justification for going on trips at times when they're required. Earlier this year, I had the opportunity to go to the One Voice trip in DC, which was a phenomenal experience. Got a ton of knowledge, information that can be applied to grants, made some relationships out there with lobbyists and other regional partners. Like I said, the conversation that took place with Atwater City Manager related to a future surface water treatment plant that we're working towards happened at that trip. But when you go out, and when I've gone out and talked to residents about that, they're like, damn, you got to go to DC for free? And so it's one of those things where even though we know there can be value in going to these conferences, even when there's hotel stays, it's very important that we provide adequate justification to our residents and give them the opportunity to say, maybe we don't agree with your justification. Maybe we shouldn't go on those trips. And I don't think there's a legitimate mechanism right now for our residents to do that, nor is there something that strictly holds us accountable. So I think one very simple way to hold ourselves accountable at the staff level and the elected level for conferences, potentially ones that have overnight stays, is when we send folks to conferences, they have to come back and provide some form of written report. Probably doesn't need to be more than a page, doesn't have to be super complex, but essentially saying what they were there for, what they learned, what knowledge they are bringing back to the city, and how that's gonna apply to some part of their work or something we're gonna plan going forward. Again, it doesn't need to be super detailed. We don't wanna have to make anybody spend hours creating this, but it does force you when you're there to say, hey, am I gonna join these folks and go sneak out and head to a restaurant, or am I gonna stay in this conference like I'm supposed to? Just in this past week, I heard a story, which is unconfirmed at this point, but it is relevant because I will be digging into it a little bit deeper, of a former elected official at the city who attended a conference in Southern California and apparently took off to Tijuana, TJ in Mexico. Now, I don't know if that's confirmed, but assuming there's a policy in place that forces you to report what you did, I'm assuming it's not as easy to go and do something like that. So I think it's a very simple way for us to hold ourselves accountable. We can add that type of language in, and wouldn't expect anybody to have to present at the podium per se, especially if it's not one of our department heads. On our end, we can certainly do that just because we're going to be here anyway. But I do think it would be nice to include an agendized item that says city travel, and then maybe there we just have a brief one-page report. This individual from this department attended this place, and this is what they're bringing back. So a potential for stronger accountability there, and I want to hear your thoughts on moving forward with some form of language that accomplishes that.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
completely disagree. Every time somebody from our staff has gone to a conference, they have reported back. Everybody that's up here that I know of that's gone to a conference has talked about it. So I don't see why we need to add that into the travel, their travel. And you also have a list of all the checks that are paid, and we can question any one of those. So I don't think this is actually needed to be built into this item. That's just my thoughts right now.
Thank you. Council, are there any other questions or comments at this time before I go out for public comment? So at 8:37, I will go out for public comment in regards to this item. Is there anyone on the phone? Bringing it back to the chamber, is there any citizen comments in the chamber in regards to this item? Seeing none, closing the citizen comments at 8:37, bringing it back to the dais. I do see both sides. I think it's important to be able to provide some kind of report back whenever anybody goes for a conference or anything, even if it's to be able to return the same day. I mean, there's also expenses just to participate in almost in every conference. But I also see Mr. Wallace's perspective. I think most of the time, many have been able to report back without having it on as a policy. But I think it would also be helpful to have it on a city policy moving forward to make sure that it gets done every single time. Not whenever that person that attends a conference wants to, or because I think or at least I seen both. When I seen elected officials attend and come back and not report, and I seen elected officials come back and report. And I seen elected officials attend and they're really attending the conference and learning and, trying to meet other people and pick their brains and stuff like that. And I also seen elected officials go to conferences and attend baseball games instead of the conference. So I seen both. I'm okay with both, but I think I think it would be helpful to at least have some language requiring, at least for elected officials, to come back and report. I think lately I've seen everybody come back and report, but moving forward, just some kind of language there that requires, like Mr. Paul mentioned, at least a one-page report. This is what we did, this is what I learned, I went into this workshop, this is what I learned, came back and we did this, or coming back, this is what we can do moving forward. And I can tell you, attending conferences it's a very good learning experience. I remember about 4 years ago or so, I attended a conference, and actually that was through a grant and not necessarily through a city-funded conference, but that's when I learned about having an updated emergency plan. And that was the first time when I came back and I asked about the emergency plan, and everybody looked at me kind of like, what are you talking about? We haven't seen that in 12 years. So, just to provide an example, but now that emergency plan has been worked on, it's been updated and stuff like that. So, but I'm okay with both. I understand both perspectives, and I think I do want to see hear what the rest of the council thinks about. Yes, go ahead, Mr. Rod.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I went to DC the previous year, and I did come back and report on that. And I think, us as electeds and using taxpayer funds, we should be accountable, and we should be, reporting what we're doing. So, yeah, I'm for it.
Just so I understand, because under state law, elected officials are required to report. But what I heard the distinction was But this would require a written report, not just a verbal report.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, go ahead.
you know, like the attorney said, I was going to say that the state does require that we report. To put it in writing, I'm not sure, you know, can you think of who has not reported? You and I, we all have gone, and we have reported. It just adds more things. I mean, what's the point of, unless you're going to have somebody require a written report, they can just put, yeah, I attended and drop it and they're done. I mean, that satisfies it, but I don't see why we just want to add more things to it. It's not, we're actually trying to fix a problem that doesn't exist. I can't think of anybody that's presently on the council, and I can't speak for, you know, we've had wrong time things, you know, but as far as I can remember, everybody's reported, you know, and so I really don't think there's any need to make it anything more complicated than it already is. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, thank you for that input. So even if it's already there, you know, maybe we should just pull that language from state law and bring it to, and just as a reminder, at least. And then again, because like I did mention before, I have seen both. I have seen people reporting, most of them, and I've seen people not reporting. So now I'm thinking, why were they not required to report at that time if it was state law? But you know, maybe just because they needed to be reminded, or not everybody's as smart as Mr. Attorney here, right? You know, then again, it's. But I think I have the answer to that question. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
If I may, would like to respond to a couple points. So one, I don't think there's any harm in this, tangible, just something to consider for council. As to this point of a problem that doesn't exist, a part of our job is to also put policies and procedures in place that can account for future problems that may exist, and this sets a strong precedent on what we expect from ourselves as a city when we go out and have go-to trainings or conferences. To this piece of the written report, again, not expecting some complex 25-page analysis of what went down, but if you know that you're gonna have to put something in a public agenda and that it's gonna be reviewed, especially for us, you're not gonna go party. Or I'm gonna take a strong bet that if you do go party, you do it after hours, after you've already compiled the information that you need. And I do want us to be forced to work a little harder. We can attend and sit there and listen to stuff, or we can be very active about taking notes, making connections, bringing back tangible knowledge that we know that's gonna end up in a public report. For full transparency, I am far more concerned with the potential negligence of people that are sitting up here that will be elected at some point more than I am at the staff level. But I also want to flag that very recently I heard about a department head in the city in the past, again, need to investigate to see if this is actually true, but spent either a third of the department's travel budget or training budget on a conference for an international association in Baltimore, and essentially brought nothing back. And again, unconfirmed, we'll need to investigate, but that can't happen ever. Not once, and this is a way to make sure that it does not happen, because the money that we're spending is not our own, and it's very important that we bring some tangible knowledge back. So no harm in doing this, forces us to be accountable, and unless we're afraid of accountability, I don't see any reason why we can't be a little bit more transparent about what we do when we're spending the taxpayers' dime.
Council?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
From my experience in the Planning Commission, the planning director and all the planning commissions got invited quite often to working seminars. I normally, as the chair, got up and reported what we went over. So you're saying you want all 6 people to get up and say the same thing? There's 6 of us at that meeting. That, to me, does not make any sense. Sorry.
Mr. Wallace, there can be some nuance built in. I will say this is largely for out-of-city travel that I'm concerned about, especially if there's a hotel stay involved. That's the biggest concern.
They were out of the city and they were at hotels.
So yeah, why can't they come and provide a report about what they learned?
People have to get up and say the same thing.
I'm not saying anybody has to get up and say something. I do think it's important that people are out there taking notes and learning. And if they are doing that, then there should be no harm in presenting that knowledge. It's 6 pieces of paper in a report. Again, unless we're afraid of having to do our jobs, I don't see why we can't move forward on this. But if that's what council wants to be, then you as a majority are more than welcome to be so.
Council, any other comments, questions?
Mr. Mayor, I was just going to ask, especially because we have a labor attorney here, so I'm going to put him to work a little bit here. So for employees, on the employees' standpoint, it's kind of my understanding that, you know, anything that we have employees do after 5, we're going to have to compensate them, or am I incorrect?
No, that's certainly true unless they're exempt employees. If they're hourly employees, they would have to be paid. And then to the extent that they're members of a bargaining group, that would also be an additional work assignment, so that would be a meet and confer item.
Yes, go ahead.
Just wanted to say, if at any point we end up with concerns over language with our staff, I know there can be complications with what's in the MOU and what we're requiring when. I would be open to restricting this to just the city council and any appointed commissions. If we decide to review this and there is no language that pops up with conflicts, then I would like to apply it citywide. But again, if there's potential conflicts, then I'm okay with just restricting this to elected and appointed officials.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
Now, anytime any of us go on any kind of conference, whatever, it's public knowledge. The rest of the council knows about it. If somebody doesn't report, somebody can always say, hey, give us a report. Can always be asked. There doesn't have to be anything written. I'm sorry, but I just think it's complicating things that it don't need to be.
I think I would be more in favor of having something in writing and adding whether it's only the language that is state law as a good reminder, and then as a reminder moving forward, because I've been attending council meetings 5 years as an elected official and probably 2 or 3 other years as a attendee, and the first time that I hear that. And in those years, like I mentioned, I seen both. Most of the time, I seen people reporting, you know, what they learned, what they brought back, what are some of the things that they're going to be working, you know, whether it's conversations with city staff, city manager, or anybody else, you know. But and then once again, I mean, it's not that I see that as something like this. I don't see it as, oh, I'm going to try and catch you, anybody specifically. And I think it would be good practice just as a reminder. And then, you know, I do agree. It's like, well, you know, it's up to the council to remind others to provide a report. But, you know, why even be in that situation where they're going to say, no, I'm not, and this, you know, just keep going back and forth, but rather just having it on paper and even just a one-page report stating, reminding and stating state law, and that's it. Bring it back to council, have a brief discussion, provide opportunity for citizen comments, and get it approved or not, and just move on. So I would be in favor of call it a reminder about state law. I'm okay with that. Council, any other questions or comments? Motions?
Mr. Malone, if there's no other questions, comments, or concerns from council, I'd like to motion that we direct staff to consider language as discussed. Mr. Ramirez, I will probably be sending over some draft language as well that may come back for consideration to amend the travel policy to reflect stronger accountability as discussed on the dais today.
So there's a motion on the floor by Councilmember Paul. Is there a second? I'll second that. Roll call, please.
Roll call. Councilmember Roth?
Abstain.
Abstain? Councilmember Upal?
Yes.
Councilmember Wallace?
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Semra?
No.
Mayor Moran?
Yes.
Motion fails 2, 2, and 1.
All right, next item number 8.2, discussion and direction on submitting a ballot measure at the general election regarding changing the positions of city clerk and city treasurer from elected to appointed positions. Mr. Wallace?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. City treasurer, city clerk, if my memory and what I looked up is right, the stipends or pay, whatever you want to call it, was done in either 59 or 69, I don't remember, because I didn't bring my own notebook with me tonight, I'm sorry for that. But it's never been changed. Now, if you know what the city clerk's doing, just because you've been on the planning commission for almost 10 years, been a chair of it, and you put your name out there, and you get elected, there's no way in hell I am qualified to be the city clerk. There's no way. And I don't know what entails the city treasurers, but I tend to think there's very few people, the citizens, in the city of Livingston that could actually do everything that the law says as a city treasurer or the city clerk. Number one, I would be Monica's boss if I'd stayed in that position and didn't delegate everything to her before I resigned, when I decided to put my paperwork in to get reappointed to the council. It would have to be at a general election because the citizens of Livingston voted for it. Now, I'm not sure if they all understand what is required. Now, I spent many times talking to Monica. If I won, what could I do and not be a pain? Then the other part is, what access would I have if I'm the treasurer or the city clerk to all the information that's in that computer? Now, city manager says no, but now, by law, if I'm the elected person, would I have access, and could he really deny it? It doesn't matter because I didn't keep it. But it's just something, I think the city needs to reevaluate it, and the citizens know what is entailed. And I'm the perfect example because I ran just strictly on my name and record as the planning commissioner. And I got more votes than if I remember correctly, than anybody else on that part, and I got more than what got elected for city council. So it's just name recognition, but that doesn't make a person qualified to do, if you go online and look up all the duties of a treasurer and all that the city treasurer has to do as city clerk. If you don't have access as a city treasurer, you're just signing your name to something that somebody is presenting to you, unless you have records, you have access to go back in and look at that computer. So that's why I brought this up, and that's why I think should be not a special election, but in a general election, and it needs to be presented to the citizens, and I am more than happy to talk to anybody on that issue that would be interested, and that's why I asked for it to be put on for a future potential item. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Council, are there any comments or questions at this time?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Wallace. Maybe, are you asking that we put ballot on the measure, put ballot measures to have appointed city clerks? Is that what appointed city clerks, not directly elected?
Yeah, not an elected city treasurer, city clerk, it should be appointed. In other words, we have a qualified deputy city clerk that's basically doing everything I ran on that I couldn't do. You have to delegate that authority.
Okay,
So that my motion is,
no, I understand. I'm not disputing you at all whatsoever. Does anybody know what is a timeline to put anything, a ballot measure for the March primary, for the March elections?
I would need to double check. I'm pretty sure it has to go on a regular election.
Okay.
And
No, like in March, there's always a
Yeah.
primary to the general. Does that have to be the general election or can it be the primary?
no, it
election?
has to be a municipal election, so that would be an election in which city. officials
So you
are-
could, so you can't put it on a March
The
election?
other issue is that the deadline.
It's already passed.
It's
by.
already,
No,
it's
I understand.
next week, I think.
Because what I was, okay, because, yeah, we're not going to be able to, because I was, I know we've talked about this in the past, and that I was always somewhat opposed to it, but I see the point that maybe we should go ahead and forward and put this on to come back, go through discussions or whatever, and see if he can submit it for the November election of the 26th.
And it's actually a relatively easy process
Yeah, it is.
to do, and the other city I work for did it recently.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we need to bring this back, Mr. Mayor, or do we give direction here to the staff to work on this and bring back for votes?
Well, let's figure out, see if there's any more questions or comments. I know I have a question, but yeah, I mean, probably is there, let me see. Discussion and direction. So yes, there's a possibility to have direction on this. So is there any additional comments or questions from the council at this time? So I'm going to go out for public comment, 8:58. Is there anyone on the phone with questions in regards to this item? Hearing none, bringing it back to the chamber. Is there any citizen comments in the chamber? Seeing none, closing the citizen comments at 8:58. Bringing it back to the dais. I think, and just probably for clarification, I think part of I mean, I know I've been part of conversations in regards to making or changing this from elected to appointed. And I think one of the other questions, or probably a question that might come up is will it be appointed to someone out in the community or appointed to someone that is already a city employee that has the qualifications to perform those duties required of a city clerk?
yeah, I may have got confused, Mr. Mayor, with not an appointed, it would be a city employee that is hired that meets all those qualifications. Number one, we have a deputy city clerk and we have a treasurer. So now you've got an elected official, theoretically with no experience, her boss. Doesn't make sense. So it's not an appointed, it would be a hired city employee. Somebody has to be qualified to do those jobs since over 40 years ago when this was put on.
So now, I'm just trying to clarify, just to make sure that everybody understands the process. I've been part of similar conversations. So now the conversation for legal is, and to make sure everybody understands it and we're on the same page, if it's appointed to a city employee to be responsible for those qualifications.
Yeah, there's two ways that cities have done it when they do appointments. The one way is that the city clerk, less common with the city treasurer, but with the city clerk be a council appointment, the same way you appoint a city manager, you appoint a city clerk, but who's a full-time employee and meets the qualifications. The other way that is probably becoming more common is that the city clerk just becomes another employee who reports to the city manager, would be equivalent of another department head.
Okay, so that person that will be appointed in that position will will it be appointed by city council or appointed by the city manager?
That would be up to the council to decide, or the voters to decide eventually. More commonly, these days, it's appointed by the city manager, but there are still cities that have that position appointed by the city council as a whole.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
And we'll leave it up to staff to work out with legal. But we could probably, and we'll have a more discussion, deeper discussion at a later date, but we could pose a question in two ways to the voters, and depending on how we decide, should the city treasurer and city clerk be appointed by the council or be appointed by the city manager? We could pose a question either way and let the people decide. It was just a thought.
So with that, thank you for bringing that up. So then that brings me to my next question. If it's appointed by the city manager, then it automatically reports to the city manager. But if it's appointed by the council, are they going to report to the council? So just to make sure we're all on the same page and
Yeah, my intent is to, if we're all agreeing, to direct staff and legal to come forward and give us some options.
Okay, council, any other questions?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
we'll be supportive of us moving to an appointed clerk and treasurer in some capacity. We'll get some options back, and we can see what it looks like. Would like to pose a question to the rest of the council here. I believe, with the exception of me, you all were on council a year ago when this item was discussed, and we didn't move forward to put it on the ballot in the 2024 election. Now, even if it was approved at that time, given that it wasn't already in place before the election, we still would have had an election for the city clerk and city treasurer in 2024, but this would have already been mitigated by this current election. Now we have to go through the election process again in 26 for at least one position that nobody wanted, which was the treasurer position. And so just curious to know from the council what changed in the last year where we didn't want to approve this a year ago and could have had this done, and we're willing to approve this now.
Well, myself, I was actually the one that brought it up last time, and I was in favor of adding it because we were on time to be able to add it to the previous ballot, but at that time there was no majority. So I'll let the others comment.
Mr. Mayor, I don't recall why we didn't do it. But if you look at different elections, there's not a lot of people going for those positions. So and I don't know if that was referenced back then or not. But, when it comes up to the time, there's not many. Mr. Wallace was one. And then the others, there wasn't that many. So maybe that's why we did it. I don't recall.
I think you're right. Up to your point, there's not many people coming out for those positions, so it should have gone to an election, but that's why we're having those conversations now. But I think Mr. Wallace was not here, or were you here, Mr. Wallace, at that time? I was not on. You were not on the council yet. So, anybody else? All right, so what do you guys want to do in regards to this item? So, I think, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to suggest that we direct staff and legal to come up with options, bring it back for further discussion, and possible adding it to the measure for our next November election.
So, and then also keep in mind that if we give direction, there's going to be staff hours, legal hours, there's going to be expenses, and if the majority wants to give direction, I'm okay with that. Because I seen it give direction and then time gets spent, staff hours get spent, and they bring it back and then nothing gets done. But I will support it. I'm okay with giving direction to have staff come back with a couple options. And then with the items that were discussed. Anybody else?
Mr. Moran, I'm okay with supporting that measure, and just to mitigate that last concern that you mentioned to make sure this does get back, can we ask both the city manager and the city attorney's office to provide a realistic timeline based off all the stuff that you're already doing? Maybe we can set a date that we want it back by, maybe a month, 2, et cetera, so that we have ample time and we'll see it on a specific date.
Anything from legal? Because I think the majority of the heavy lifting is going to be on your end.
I don't want to speak for Mr. Tran, but I don't think it's going to take a very long time to provide the options, because Livingston's not the first city to go through this.
Great.
Maybe we can shoot for no later than the second meeting in January. What do you guys think?
I think we'll leave it up to staff to see if.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
Or maybe we can say that for the second meeting in January, at least come back and provide a report or an update. This is where we're at. This is what we need, and just kind of go from there.
Yeah, that works.
So second meeting of January. So is there a motion on the floor?
So move.
I was asking.
Make that motion,
Oh,
Mr. Mayor.
All right, so a motion on the floor by Mr. Wallace and a second by Mayor Pro Tem. Roll call, please.
Roll call, Councilmember Ross,
Yes.
Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Wallace,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Semmer,
Yes.
Mayor Moran.
Yes.
Motion passes by a vote of 5-0.
All right, next item, 8.3, discussion and direction regarding shopping carts. Mr. Wallace?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Shopping carts are getting to be an issue. We had to get the police department and public works involved at McDonald's, right where it's Caltrans area and that fence, to get a homeless person out of there with 2 shopping carts. More and more shopping carts are coming around. We're going to have more development, but we don't have any control of them. My suggestion is that any new business must have locks on their shopping carts that they cannot leave their property. The second part of that would be any existing business that does not have them has a year to comply. That should give any business in town. Now, I know Liberty goes around and collects his, but he doesn't drive every street. There's no way he's going to spend that much money driving. Now, he knows certain people where he's finding them all the time. But there was one on Peach that was there for over a week. And where was the other one? I want to say Robin. But they're just coming more and more. And I think if we don't address it now, it's going to be one of those things we forget. And the stores that don't have them, a good example would be Dollar General. They've added those big things on them so a handicapped person can't get them out of the store. And they say, well, just wait, we'll get an employee to help you. Well, okay, there's only one employee working. You're going to sit there, wait till the second one comes back off work? And my biggest complaint with that would be to the new mall in Merced. Burlington Coat Factory is a perfect example. If you go in there, you cannot take the shopping carts past their door. They lock out. You cannot take them out. Their answer for a handicapped person, wait, we will get you an employee to take your stuff to your car. Well, my wife waited over 30 minutes for an employee to come. And I didn't know it because I was sitting in the car. Number one, I can't stand following her around the aisles because she's a shopaholic in Burlington. But that was just one that really set me off. Dollar General, I've complained about a couple times, got nowhere. It just, I think the city needs to get ahead of this before it gets worse, especially with the 2 new apartment complexes. there's gonna be people that are gonna take those carts if they're not locked up. Now, I know Rancho has theirs locked up, and I believe Santa Fe does, but I'm just, any business that doesn't have them locked, give them a year. It's not gonna cost them a lot of money. They'll have less trouble, whoever's picking up their carts and they're paying them for them. And then in the long run, we've solved an upcoming issue. That was just my reason for putting this on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wallace. Council, are there any questions or comments at this time?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Wallace, do appreciate bringing stuff like this up that may be easy to forget. Definitely want to be proactive about. Would ask a question to our city attorney, and we may need to do some more research on this before. But do you think there's going to be any issue with like enforcing a strict requirement on current or new businesses? Do you know of other cities that have done anything like this?
I know other cities that have shopping cart ordinances and regulations. I don't know of any specifically that have these specific regulations. Not that they're a bad idea or anything. I think we'd want an opportunity to look into that and figure out what the scope of our ability to regulate is. But if we aren't able to do exactly what Councilmember Wallace is asking, we can always provide options.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Wallace and rest of the council, if it's okay with you, can we direct staff to explore some potential options to mitigate the concerns, looking at other cities, and then bring those back for formal ordinance considerations?
Also, before we go there, or before we make any motions, and I need to go out for public comment, one thing that I was thinking is, I don't know, I haven't talked to any business owners to see who gets really mostly affected. I think based on the ones that I've seen out there, it's probably Dollar General and Liberty to be some of the shopping carts that I recognize, that I see out there. But maybe we should consider, I don't know, Mr. Ramirez, if we could contact like 2 or 3 of the main, I guess, bigger players in the area with the most shopping carts, and see, kind of just have a brief conversation with them, 10, 15 minutes on the phone. It's like just to see if that is a problem for them, and what council has been talking about, and maybe ask for suggestions or solutions from their end, and maybe there's something that could be done without having too much time invested on an ordinance, and it'll be just limited to, maybe 4 or 5 people out there that I can think of. But then again, that's just a thought, and I don't know, what do you think? What are some of the suggestions that you might have in regards to this concern?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, I know that Mr. Wallace has outlined that, there's quite a few, shopping carts that are around town. And really, the only problem that staff has seen is related to Liberty, because the Dollar General, you can't exit. Both Rancho and the Santa Fe, they have those in place. And so Fiesta Market's it's not currently open right now. So that basically leaves like CVS, and CVS, they have very minimal carts of that, and they usually only stay in that specific area. I haven't seen any out here. So if Mr. Wallace is okay, I would like to at least, go out and talk to some of these vendors and see if, kind of what the issues are, and what they think about, installing these locking mechanisms. And if we can get them to comply without having to go through an ordinance, if you guys are okay with that, I'm happy to do that. If not, we can always come back for, an actual ordinance itself.
That would be fine with me.
Thank you. And then just real quick, because I was thinking also about enforcement. I mean, who will be out there enforcing? Probably code enforcement, or I'm not sure who would end up being
Yeah.
responsible for this. And, at the end of the day, it's,
Well, they would have to have a upfront investment
Yeah.
because, I mean, either way, Liberty Market, having to go around town and picking these up, there's a cost and time associated to that. So, who knows, maybe they haven't thought of investing or whatever. But I think that I can resolve the problem for council, given your suggestion and Mr. Wallace, and we'll go out there and with staff and we'll figure this thing out. Again, we don't have a lot of different stores they have a lot of shopping carts, but there is some out there, so let's address it. So thank you for bringing it up, Mr. Wallace.
so at this time, I will go out for public comment. Is there any citizen comments in regards to this item? Is there anyone on the phone? 917. Hearing none, coming back to the chamber, is there any citizen comments in the chamber?
David Bates, longtime Livingston resident. First of all, I'd like to commend Rick Dew, the owner of Liberty Market. I see this guy out at least a couple times a week loading his pickup with shopping carts all over town. And bringing them back. In fact, last week I saw him out front and doing repairs to his carts. And I've not had been down to the new Santa Fe market, but I am aware that Rancho San Miguel has the locking mechanisms on one of the wheels on their carts. I guess if you try to exit the parking lot, it locks up, or if it hasn't gone through the process at the checkout. At any rate, I'm noticing more and more of those carts, and they've got very distinctive carts. I'm noticing more of those around town. People are finding a way around that lock mechanism. One of the reasons I mentioned longtime Livingston resident is because I was around back when Value Market, which everybody called the Pink Store, on the corner of Main and Peach, when they were still here and in their heyday, they, like everyone else, had problems with carts being removed from the premises. People didn't want to carry that bag of groceries home, or for whatever reason, and so they'd take carts to push their groceries home, and they'd end up on the side of the road like everybody else's are now. What they did, and it was very simple, it's a piece of cardstock and some lamination. They printed a sign on I don't know, it was 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock, and then laminated it, and it said something to the effect, and if you might be able to correct me on the code 487 for the theft of the carts. It referenced something to the effect of, it is a violation of Penal Code Section 487 to remove a shopping cart from these premises. If shopping carts if you're found in possession of a cart off premise, we will prosecute you for theft of the cart. Interestingly enough, we quit seeing Value Market's carts around town. They were primarily on the south end of town, but they didn't have the problem anymore. You just tell the people that, that if they're taking them off premise, that they are subject to prosecution for, I guess it be petty theft, because I don't think those things are more than $999. And it was very effective for them. Whether it would be now, I mean, I'm talking, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 years ago. I don't know if it's be effective now or not, but it was certainly effective then. People realized that, hey, they're basically stealing a cart from the store, even though that's not their intent. With or without the intent, they technically it is theft. So it worked for them, and that might be something in your comments to some of the local store owners that they might consider. It's simple, it's cheap, cardstock, laminate, and some zip ties. Just a thought. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other citizen comments in the chamber? Seeing none, closing the citizen comments at 9:22, bringing it back to the dais. Council, any additional questions, comments?
Michelle, may I comment real quick? Just want to thank Mr. Bates for his comment. I know it's something like in terms of magnitude, it's not a huge deal, but just to get perspective, again, ideas, even if it's something simple, we might never know what we're going to miss or what we're not considering. So when we have folks in the room that force us to think about stuff, large scale, small scale, it goes a long way. So for the 3 residents that are in the audience tonight, really appreciate you guys being here and just giving us stuff to think about. It goes a long way.
I did want to mention, I did take a webinar yesterday regarding new laws, and SB 753 was passed for special business regulations, shopping carts. And the measure reads, this measure enables local governments to enact ordinance permitting the direct return of abandoned carts to retailers. This measure also allows the immediate action when carts block emergency access to pose a safety hazard. To encourage compliance, this measure raises the fine for failing to retrieve a cart to $100 while ensuring clear notice and due process for retailers.
So that could be helpful also in the conversations with business owners. All right, thank you for that. So I think I saw a majority for staff direction. But if you can all confirm that you're okay with that, I'm okay with that. Okay, so you have direction. Thank you. All right, next we have item number 9, announcements and reports. City Council member announcements and reports. Mr. Wallace.
Yeah, I know Anthony's already gone, but I want to thank him and Public Works. They had the last green waste day pickup, and I drove out there because I've never had any green waste to bring because I got 2 barrels of it at home. I keep them full pretty much. But it was well organized. I stayed maybe 15 minutes because I didn't want to get in the way. I talked to a couple people, commented how great it was, and then I got out of their hair. But it was well organized, well run, and like I say, all these years, this is the first time I've ever driven out there just to see what was going on. And I warned Anthony at the prior city council meeting that I was going to go out there, and I was just going to go out and look as a citizen. It had nothing to do with me on city council. I had just never been there. I wanted to actually go see the facility and how they were handling the traffic flow. And the only thing I can say, they did an excellent job. I don't know how many cars he got, because he didn't report on that this time, but it was a steady stream going down towards there, in and out, and no issues whatsoever that I was aware of or could see. And just wanted to thank him and his crew. That's it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Roth?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, nothing really to report. The Christmas parade is coming up next Friday, and I have a vehicle for the council to ride in. I'll be driving. We just need a meetup point. I don't know if that's once if you want to be down by the high school or where, just let me know. Send an email to the city manager, he can let you know. Second, I would like to thank the city and people of the city of Livingston for the condolences on my grandmother's passing. And I'd like to thank the Board of Supervisors for them adjourning the meeting in my grandmother's honor. And lastly, I did ask, I think it was 3 meetings ago, Mr. Uppel, do you have a response yet for that warrant?
So this was going to be on my future agenda items. That item, I actually did request it multiple times to come back. We know you couldn't make it to the last couple meetings, and so we were waiting for you to be back in attendance, given that you had asked a question. Unfortunately, our city attorney's not in attendance tonight, and he also wanted to be there because there may be a little bit of a broader discussion on the usage of attorneys as a whole. And so it's my understanding that that's coming back on December 16th, and I will have a response on that date.
Thank you.
Councilmember Opal?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I actually want to start off with a couple of birthday shout-outs. People seem to really like it when I say happy birthday to them at the dais, and so I do want to shout out a couple loved ones. Have twin little cousins. Happy birthday to Japvir and Danvir Gurwal, just turned 12 at our middle school here in Livingston, and also to one of my boys from my childhood. Happy birthday to Rajdeep Singh. Wishing them well today. Want to thank the public works staff for putting lights up on Main Street. Looked really nice driving through the first time I saw them. Just little things like that can enhance our aesthetic, and it's fun to see. And I have no other reports.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem?
Nothing tonight.
All right, so I just have a few items real quick. I forgot the date, but when I went out to the fire range with PD and in conversation with PD, I compromised my wife to make some green chili burritos, and we were able to, well, she was able to make some burritos for staff at PD. I forgot the date, and now I think in another conversation, it wasn't me, but she compromised herself to do something else in December. So I guess she will be coming back to PD. I don't think we're accepting any more requests in a long time from anybody else, but just in case anybody's thinking about it. Just real quick, I just want to give a mention to 99 Cycling Team. If you haven't heard about 99 Cycling Team, it's a local team of cyclists in the city of Livingston, which every year for Thanksgiving, they do their Thanksgiving cycling run, I think that's what they call it. So they start in Livingston and they go out all the way to the park the river park by Hillmar, and then they come back. And then I've been able to attend when they're coming back into the city and welcome them, and then and then just something very small, and then I guide them through downtown towards Max Complex, and then so. But if you don't know about 99 Cycling Team, you can look them up on, I think they're on Instagram, and they have their 99cyclingteam.com website, where you can get more information. So anybody out there that is into cycling, make sure you look them up. They do runs in different areas around the Central Valley. I also attended the Carlos Vieira Foundation annual dinner and the surface water plant visit in Trolloc. And also just somebody called me today about what is the process, and then I just, also for others in the community, what is the process to look into streets that are very dark, that to be looked at and see what could be done. I told them, well, let's send me an email, send me a text, and I can refer it over to city staff, and then we can go from there. But can you provide a little input on what the process, or if there are similar concerns
Yeah.
for residents, what they can do?
Yes, absolutely. Like any, I mean, really the big formality is for traffic, and that's why we have a traffic committee, but all other, general concerns, they're welcome to reach out to either Public Works, City Manager's Office, City Clerk. We from time to time, we actually receive some email communications, even through the web. So there's different ways they can come into City Hall, and, they can reach us through social media, or they can do emails, or they can phone call. But yeah, we're more than happy to entertain any questions related to lighting, streets, curbs, gutters, whatever issues, even if it's public safety related as well.
Thank you. And then just one last thing for everybody to know. I did share it already on social media, but obviously not everybody is able to see it. If you go into the city website, you can actually, there's an e-alert button to where you can subscribe, to the city announcements. If it is to receive announcements when there's a new commission meeting, whether it's recreation, planning, or ad hoc, or any other news, or city council meetings, you can receive that alert, whether it's, I think it's email or text, Monica? Is that only via text or email? Email. Maybe in the future we can have that also, that option of receiving those updates via text. So just go onto our website, so that way anytime there's something new that is an announcement, you can get an update via email every single time. Other than that, that's all I have for
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I apologize. I did miss one item in my report, which is relevant to council. I've mentioned a couple times that I was working with Fresno State's Office of Community and Economic Development on courses that they have for families and students that they have implemented all over their area in Fresno and would like to spend more time in Livingston. They have been here in the past, and it looks like they're trying to kickstart that again if there's interest from the community. I want to be fully transparent about this. They have requested a $9,000 appropriation from the city to move forward with direct programming if we decide that that's something that we want. I'll be working to gauge some community interest. Maybe you guys can do that on your side as well. From the data that they've showed me, it looks like they've had a lot of success and a lot of requests for continued courses from the residents that they've worked with in other areas. And if it's something that our residents do seem that they are interested in or may be interested in, I will likely request that that item come back at some point and maybe do a little bit more of a formal presentation on what it'll look like so that we can consider a potential appropriation. But no, nothing else to report.
I know the mayor just mentioned about the e-alerts, and to find it, you go to our website and go under community, and under community, you will find the sign up for e-alerts here. And all you do is just click on the link. And then you decide which alerts you want.
Thank you. So if there's no other announcements, next item is council direction on future agenda items. Council, are there any items on your list?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
I have 4. I mentioned the legislative platform earlier, that I'd like to present that on December 16th. I request that that's included on our next agenda. I request that on our next agenda, we include a discussion on direction item on the potential of adding something on our ballot for term limits for elected officials. There's been a lot of residents asking me about food trucks in town. I know we had that discussion in the past and it kind of died off. There didn't seem to be much interest at the time. but I've had some very specific requests to bring that back. And so I would request that at some point in the near future, we have a discussion and direction item on the potential of changing our municipal code on the number of food trucks we allow in town. And then the last one, as discussed earlier, the attorney fees item.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none? The regular meeting is adjourned at 9:36, and we're going back into closed session, and we'll be back out to report from closed session.